If you're thinking about moving to Portland and you're looking for a beautiful suburban area to live, look no further than Tigard, Oregon. In this video, we're gonna look at every neighborhood, every nook and cranny of Tigard, and all that starts now. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Paul Clem with the Oregon Relocation Team coming to you from Tigard, Oregon today. In this video, we're gonna look at all things Tigard, every neighborhood, everything you need to know. I'm not gonna bore you with a big preamble. We're gonna jump right into it because Tigard is pretty big. It's not the biggest suburb in the Portland metro area, but it's 12 square miles. There are 14 different neighborhoods in Tigard, and there's something for everybody in Tigard. So almost every neighborhood has a really big range in terms of what you can get, all the way down to apartments, to townhomes and condos, kind of middle of the road homes, older homes, newer homes, and big fancy luxury homes. So a lot of neighborhoods kind of have all of that wrapped into one, and then there's some neighborhoods that are much more upscale, some neighborhoods that are much more modest. So in this video, we're going to go through every neighborhood in Tigard and tell you everything you need to know about living here. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, or you've been here and you haven't already and you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap that little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. Now, we've helped a ton of people relocate to Oregon and move to the Portland metro area, so if that's you, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, click the link down below in the description of the video, schedule a Zoom call with us, and we can talk a lot more about details about Tigard and about some of the different neighborhoods that we're going to talk about in this video. Really, the goal here is to show you what these areas look like, because, you know, let's face it, you know, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months before somebody's actually moving to an area, they're looking at Zillow, they're looking at maps, they're trying to wrap their head around what these areas are like, what they look like. So again, in this video, the goal is really to show you what these areas look like. Now, in general, Tigard is about the hardest suburb in the Portland metro area to figure out. There are so many elevation changes and hills and winding streets and dead ends. It's really hard to kind of get the lay of the land and know where you're at in Tigard. So if you're just looking at a map and again, looking at homes on Zillow, you don't really get a clear picture as to what Tigard is actually like. So again, we're going to show you in this video what these different neighborhoods actually look like, and I'll lend a little bit of insight in terms of, you know, what you can expect in some of these different areas. I think overall though, Tigard is going to fly under the radar a little bit. I mean, it's, if you like Beaverton, if you like Hillsborough, if you like Tualatin, Lake Oswego, Tigard is going to be able to offer similar elements to all of these different areas. So I think a lot of people end up liking Tigard as an option, but it can fly under the radar a little bit. So with that said, let's just jump right into it. All right, the first neighborhood that we'll talk about is Bonita. So Bonita is a pretty small little neighborhood in Tigard. Bonita Road runs right through it. So you are bordering I-5 basically on the east side of Tigard, pretty close to Lake Oswego. So you're pretty close to a business corridor along Cruise Way and Lake Oswego. That's actually where our office is. So this is an area that I get through quite a bit. A couple things about Bonita. It's really a pretty nice area, by and large more newly developed, so you get a lot of nice larger newer homes in this area at a pretty decent price, so it's relatively affordable. This area is pretty flat, so most of Tigard has some hills and elevation change, where Bonita, this neighborhood, is really kind of flat, so it's a little less interesting in that way probably. You're also right up against an enormous business park, or rather commercial district with a ton of business parks. So along 72nd all the way to Lower Boones Ferry Road, you're going to be in an area that is bordering a very busy commercial district with warehouses and office parks and things like that. So it makes for maybe a less desirable aesthetic to some degree getting in and out of the neighborhood. Once you're in the neighborhood, it's a great area, but, you know, by many measures. So there's really nothing wrong with it, but it's not as suburban feeling as some other areas in Tigard in a way, just because it's so busy. Now in Bonita, you're going to be pretty close to Bridgeport Mall, which is this incredible open air mall, probably the best movie theater in the Portland metro area, or at least on the west side. So, you know, there's a lot of entertainment there. There's a lot of great restaurants. Again, the movie theater, there's a lot of things to do in the area. I-5 is right there, so you can get up into Portland very quickly, very easily. And a lot of Tigard, you can get really pretty buried. So in Bonita, again, some of the accessibility is going to be a little bit better too. All right, the next neighborhood that we'll talk about in Tigard is Cook Park. So Cook Park is this enormous park, actually where I'm standing today, and the neighborhood of Cook Park is surrounded, or really surrounds the park. So the high school is right here. This is kind of feels like the heart of Tigard and what Tigard is in terms of what you get. And again, Cook Park being such a big highlight for living in Tigard. And again, the high school is right there as well. You get a little bit of a mix. You get some newer development, newer construction, a lot of mid-century, so kind of 60s, 70s on. So a little bit of a mixed bag, but really nice neighborhood overall, really quiet, very private feeling. So there's a lot of neighborhoods where there's not a lot of through streets and ways in and out and things like that. So you're not gonna get a ton of traffic. So a very nice suburban feel. You're a little bit further west, so you're a little bit closer to Highway 99. So you'll be getting over to Highway 99 quite a bit for your grocery shopping and things like that, which is great. So in your immediate area, there's a lot of things that you would need. Plus, I mean, it's hard to argue against, you know, having this park basically in your backyard where you can walk to this enormous park along the Tualatin River. You got a new playground going in right over here. So, you know, huge soccer fields, sports fields, things like that. They do concerts in the park in the summer. A really beautiful neighborhood overall. And this is another area where I think you can get pretty good bang for your buck. That's going to be a consistent theme in Tigard is, you know, the relative affordability compared to other suburbs where you can have a very similar feel and still pretty close access to Portland, not being too far from the city, but still being able to kind of stretch your dollar a little bit. Cook Park, again, is a neighborhood where that's definitely going to be the case. All right, the next neighborhood in Tigard that we're going to talk about is Southview. So Southview is just north of Cook Park and bordered by Highway 99. So if I hadn't mentioned it, Highway 99 is the main corridor going right through Tigard. So it runs from northeast going southwest through Tigard. So a big distinction living in Tigard is whether you are north or south of Highway 99 or east or west, depending on how you want to look at it. But if you're on one side of Highway 99 versus the other, there's going to be a clear distinction there just geographically in terms of what, you know, your access to certain things is like. You know, if you are on this side of Highway 99 around Cook Park, again, you can get over to like I-5, you can get to Lake Oswego, West Lynn, those areas a lot easier than if you were on the north side of Highway 99, which is going to take you into like Beaverton to the north, for example, bordered by Scholls Ferry Road. You can get to Washington Square Mall, things like that. But let's talk about Southview. So this is an area that is really overshadowed by Bull Mountain, which we'll talk about. There are some really, really nice new developments in Southview. There's also some really, really old developments in Southview. So you'll see that in a lot of neighborhoods in Tigard where you get a lot of old and a lot of new. And a lot of the older homes, a lot of the older properties in Tigard, whether it's Southview or otherwise, you can get some really big lots. So that's something where I think in Tigard, you probably have a better chance of getting like 1/3 of an acre plus than you do just about anywhere else, at least on the west side of the Portland metro area. So you see a lot of old and a lot of new. And so the neighborhood is called Southview. So you have this big slope, you know, basically facing south, right? So you get a lot of good views, like nice views in this area too. You can see Bull Mountain and some of the mountains to the south as well, getting down to like Parrot Mountain and Sherwood and Newburgh and places like that. So let's take a look. All right, the next neighborhood in Tigard we'll take a look at is Bull Mountain. So this is objectively probably the nicest area of Tigard. It's also the most buried area of Tigard. So if you live on Bull Mountain, it's gonna be hard to kind of get in and out of the area except for your immediate surrounding area. So you have like Highway 99 bordering on the east, and to the north you have Neighbor Southwest and some really nice areas of Beaverton too, like Progress Ridge. So you have really nice new shopping centers, entertainment, restaurants. Overall, living in Bull Mountain, there's a lot of really nice stuff around you, but getting up into Portland, getting up into like central Beaverton or up to Highway 26 is going to be a little bit tougher. But I think the trade-off is you can get really, really nice big homes. A lot of these homes have incredible views, you know, sweeping views of the kind of the, you know, surrounding farmland, especially to the west. So, you know, again, it's objectively a really nice area, very beautiful, and you can stretch your dollar a little bit further, in particular for what you get. So you get, again, a lot of really nice new development. A lot of this was developed in the last 30 years. Part of this area is still developing right now. Some of it is unincorporated, so there's a part of Bull Mountain that is unincorporated Washington County, but it's all going to be considered Tigard. You know, this all feeds into Tigard schools, Tigard High School, things like that. So connected kind of to the north and west of Bull Mountain is West Tigard. That's technically another standalone neighborhood that we're talking about in this video, but most of this is going to be on Bull Mountain. Most of this is going to feel like Bull Mountain in terms of your surrounding areas and how more newly developed the area is as well. So Bull Mountain and then West Tigard, probably the most sought after and most desirable area in Tigard overall. If you're looking for a, you know, larger home, really suburban feeling area, little more of an upscale feel as well, but the trade-off is the location and, again, feeling a little more buried. All right, next we'll talk about three neighborhoods in one. They're all very similar and bleed into each other. You'll find that also as a consistent theme in Tigard, is that a lot of these neighborhoods bleed into each other and there's not really a clear distinction being in one area or the next. You'll get some of that from Cook Park up to Southview, even into Bonita a little bit. You'll get a ton of that on the north side of Highway 99, in the neighborhoods that bordered by Scholls Ferry to the north. So you have Summerlake Scholls, or Scholls Summerlake, where Summerlake Park is. You have Jack Park, which borders this neighborhood, and Jack Park is right at the center of that. And then you have Englewood Park as well. So all three of these neighborhoods are bordered by Scholls Ferry to the north. You'll see some drone footage and some driving footage here. It's going to be a bit of a longer clip. Basically, you get a huge mix in this area. So in Scholls Summerlake, you'll get some newer development, a lot of 90s development, but you'll get some older development too. Now in Jack Park, you'll get a lot of mid-century development. So 50s, 60s, 70s, a lot of single level ranches and split levels and tri-levels. So I know a lot of people really like that type of property. Those are going to skew on more of the affordable side of things typically, because they're generally a little bit smaller. Even though you can get a 4 or 5 bedroom home, they're going to be like 2,200 to 2,800 square feet. And again, you still have Summerlake Park right there. You have Jack Park. There's a lot of great stuff right around you. And then Englewood Park as well is going to be a little bit further north, but still along that Scholls Ferry corridor, which again borders kind of that northwest side of Tigard. And this is similarly going to be an area that has a ton of development from the 2000s and 90s, but you'll get some older homes as well. And again, a lot of those older homes, a lot of those older neighborhoods have those bigger lots. So if you like Tigard, want to be in Tigard, really Jack Park and Englewood Park in particular, there's going to be some areas where you can get some of those larger lots, larger properties. Scholls Summerlake Park is going to be a little bit more newly developed, but has more of that kind of suburban feel, you know, that you can get in a lot of areas in the Portland metro area. So in all three of these neighborhoods, bordered to the north, again, Scholls Ferry Road, north of Scholls Ferry is going to be Beaverton. So there's like South Beaverton and Greenway. You have Greenway Park, and you also have Washington Square if you follow Scholls Ferries up. So Washington Square is a great mall, very popular area to go shopping. There's some restaurants around this area. There's some newer restaurants going in, which is kind of cool and exciting to see. Tigard in and of itself is probably the best suburb to be in if you like shopping, if you like going to the mall, because you have Washington Square on the north side, and then you have Bridgeport Mall on the south side, which we talked about as that kind of newer open air mall. Washington Square is a little more of a classic mall, but it's doing really well. I know I've talked about in a lot of different videos, Washington Square, you know, whereas a lot of malls around the country aren't doing very well, and some are actually shutting down and being torn down, Washington Square is a really kind of lively, bustling place to be. So these three neighborhoods, Englewood Park, Jack Park, and Scholls Summerlake, are going to be, you know, it's going to be really easy to get up into Washington Square. Also in these neighborhoods, these three neighborhoods, you have a lot of great shopping, grocery stores, things like that, right along Scholls Ferry Road. So basically everything that you would need day to day is going to be right there on Scholls Ferry. And if you continue on Scholls Ferry going southwest into like West Tigard, which is that north side of Bull Mountain, you're going to get into Progress Ridge, that really nice new big shopping development, commercial area, entertainment district that a lot of people really like. Again, I mean, this is a really nice area in there, just at least in part because it's so new, you know, everything is so new and shiny. So if you live in these neighborhoods that are bordered by Scholls Ferry Road, you can get into Progress Ridge and the Murray Hill area. There's some shopping in that area, restaurants, things like that in there, you know, just 5 minutes down Scholls Ferry Road. And that in part is what I was getting at, where there's really a clear distinction if you live on the north side of Highway 99 versus the south side of Highway 99. And if you're on the north side, where these three neighborhoods are, you're going to be able to get up into Beaverton and get into this like Progress Ridge area very easily. That's going to be a lot harder if you live on the south side of Highway 99, where you're a little bit closer to I-5, for example. It's just going to be harder to kind of cut through the neighborhoods and wind up, you know, through Tigard to get to, you know, these areas along Scholls Ferry, unless you're living closer to, like you are in Scholls Summerlake and Jack Park and Englewood Park. All right, the next neighborhood in Tigard that we'll talk about is Derry Dell. So this is an area that actually is north of Highway 99, but it's really bordered by Highway 99 on the south side of the neighborhood. So it's not as close to Scholls Ferry Road like the neighborhoods that we were just talking about. This is an area that is really a mixed bag. So there are a lot of through streets, a lot of traffic kind of cutting in and out of this neighborhood. There's a lot of older properties, a lot of larger lots that have not been split up. There's not nearly as many new developments in this area. So you're gonna definitely be able to get more affordable options here. It's gonna be older homes, sometimes 100-year-old homes plus, which is something that is really cool about all of Tigard, really all throughout Tigard, you know, when it was all farmland and orchards and things like that. There's a ton of these older homes smattered throughout all of Tigard that had a ton of acreage and eventually just split up more and more and more, you know, continuing, you know, as Tigard continued to develop. So in an area like Derry Dell, you see a lot of these older, larger properties and older homes. And there are some developments, you know, developments around the 80s and 90s, and there's some one-off developments that are newer. But overall, this is going to be an older, more modest area. Again, really easy access to Highway 99. So if you wanted to get onto 99 to go to the grocery store, to go to the mechanic, you know, whatever it may be, or to get up into Portland, living in Derry Dell is going to give you that accessibility. All right, the next neighborhood we'll talk about is Greenburg Rd. So this is an area that really is a mixed bag. It has some industrial development as well, some commercial development. So kind of like Bonita being next to 72nd and all those business parks closer to I-5. Greenburg Rd is closer to the intersection of 217, Interstate 217, which connects Highway 26 to the north to I-5 to the south, and Highway 99. So again, there's a lot of commercial development around here. It's going to be pretty similar to Derry Dell. It borders Derry Dell. There's a couple really nice parks in this area, in particular the Dirksen Nature Area, which is this, you know, really big green space with picnic tables and big field and playground and things like that. Fano Creek Trail runs right through here. So Fano Creek is a trail that runs all through Tigard and runs into the Tualatin River. And there's a greenway, you know, walking trails all along Fano Creek. So a lot of neighborhoods in Tigard are going to have nice access to the Fano Creek Trail. Greenburg Rd is going to be one of them. Again, you're going to be close to 217, so you can get up into Beaverton very easily. You're up to Highway 26. You're close to 99, so you can get up into Portland. It's going to be more of a modest area as well. Kind of like Derry Dell, you're going to have some one-off, smaller, newer developments, but by and large, this is going to be an older neighborhood with older homes, larger lots. So again, that's really a big benefit in to some of these older neighborhoods, is the larger lots that you can get. All right, another really interesting neighborhood in Tigard is North Tigard, or what most people would call Metzger. So a lot of this is unincorporated Washington County. So basically Tigard, again, like some of Bull Mountain, feeding into Tigard schools, but just technically unincorporated Washington County. Some of this area is in city limits. It's called North Tigard, kind of to the east a little bit, and then on the west of the northernmost part of Tigard, you're gonna have Washington Square Mall. So not a lot of residential development right in and around Washington Square Mall, but Metzger, by and large, and North Tigard is really going to feel like and live a lot more like a Southwest Portland neighborhood. You're bordering Portland just to the north. You know, in a lot of these neighborhoods, I mean, you're less than 15 minutes, maybe about 10 minutes even, depending on how close you are to the freeway, to get into downtown Portland. But the homes, the landscape, the way things are laid out, just the overall feel, again, really feels a lot like a Southwest Portland neighborhood. There is really a mixed bag in this area as well, like a lot of Tigard. So a lot of really large lots, a lot of older homes, some 100-year-old homes in some cases, but there's a lot of new development that has happened and that is continuing to happen in this area. And this area is really, really desirable for people who don't want to be too buried in the suburbs, that, you know, maybe want to be outside of Multnomah County or just a little bit out of the city, but still have that quick, easy access. And Metzger and North Tigard is going to give you the opportunity to do that. You have places like Metzger Park, you have the Fano Creek Trail. I mean, there's a lot of green spaces and parks that you can get out to in this area. It's very wooded, really like a lot of Tigard, very hilly, a lot of elevation changes, like a lot of Tigard. So by and large, the real appeal to this area is going to be, again, its proximity to Portland. Again, you also have Washington Square Mall right here. You can get to 217 very easily. You can get to I-5 very easily, or Highway 99. So getting to grocery stores, getting out to, you know, a doctor's appointment, getting your kids to school, whatever it may be, a lot of convenience built into living in this North Tigard Metzger area. All right, the next neighborhood we'll talk about is River Terrace Crossing. So we're gonna hop all the way west now, west of Bull Mountain. This is the kind of the western slope of Bull Mountain, where the urban growth boundary in the Portland metro area, when it was most recently extended out this area a little bit. So this is an area that is bordered by unincorporated Washington County, but again, it's part of Bull Mountain. It's on that western slope, and you see a ton of new construction and new development going on here. So we've helped a lot of clients move into this area and work with builders to buy new construction, homes that were just built or homes that hadn't been built yet. So if you are looking for new construction and you want to live in Tigard, this is really going to be the area to go to. There are one-off developments and neighborhoods and areas rather being built kind of throughout Tigard, but this is where you have by far and away the highest volume of new construction going on. This is an area that's also going to be close to Scholls Ferry to the north, so you can get to that Progress Ridge area where you have all the entertainment and restaurants and things to do. Very walkable. Now, if you live in River Terrace, you may not be walking to Progress Ridge, but you could bike up there, you could drive up there and walk around. And one thing that I think is worth highlighting is that when you look at an area like River Terrace, I mean, the landscape is incredible. Again, you have that elevation on the western slope of Bull Mountain, so you kind of have these western facing views. So you have a lot of views, if not from your home, just driving around the neighborhood, where, you know, there's beautiful horizon, very wooded. Again, it's a very beautiful area overall. And if you look at the homes, you know, new construction obviously are nice and new and shiny, and the prices for the new construction that's going up there, I think, is going to be relatively affordable compared to what you can get in some other areas of the Portland metro area, like Bethany, for example, which is an area that is really being developed. So you can get some good bang for your buck in River Terrace. You're going to be about as buried as you can be in Tigard. I mean, you can get north up into Beaverton, all the way up into Hillsborough even. You're almost that far west, you know, so there are places you can get out and see and things to get out and do living in River Terrace. But if you're looking at this relative to, you know, being close to Portland and being close to the city, it's going to be, I mean, without traffic, it's going to be 25 minutes at least to get to downtown Portland. So for what it's worth, there, you know, and really like anywhere on Bull Mountain, that's going to be the biggest trade-off. A lot of these neighborhoods you can be really buried, and River Terrace is no exception. All right, just a couple more areas of Tigard to talk about. The next place we'll talk about is the Tigard Triangle. So this is something you'll see on a map. This is something you might hear about. This isn't really an area that has many neighborhoods or development, residential development with single family homes. You'll get a little bit of that, but it's a lot of apartments and a lot of commercial development. It's called the Tigard Triangle though, because it is the triangle between I-5, Interstate 5 to the east, Highway 99 kind of to the west, and then on the north side 217. So there's these three highways and interstates that form this triangle here, kind of on the north side of Tigard, and you'll hear Tigard Triangle, you know, you'll hear people reference that. This is the area that people are talking about. This is probably the one area in Tigard where you might see like some tents on the side of the street, for example. So I don't know, you know, how unsafe this area is necessarily. Tigard overall is a very safe place to live, for sure. You know, especially a lot of people relocating to Portland, you know, they hear a lot of stuff about Portland and about crime and homelessness and things like that. Tigard is a very safe suburb overall, and it's, you know, it's any suburb in the Portland metro area is really going to be night and day from living in a lot of Multnomah County and closer into the city. So either way, again, this Tigard Triangle, this is an area where you might hear people talk about seeing things, again, like tents on the side of the street from time to time, things like that. But it's really not an area that there's much of an incentive to, you know, maybe keep clean a little bit. I don't know, maybe that's just my perspective. But again, this really isn't an area with a ton of residential neighborhoods and development and things like that. A lot of new apartment buildings going up, business offices, you know, office buildings, things like that. But just wanted to point out the Tigard Triangle is just that actual triangle that's made between those three interstates and the highway, or the two interstates and the highway. All right, last and finally, we'll talk about downtown Tigard. So all of the suburban areas or suburbs in the Portland metro area have some kind of main street or downtown area for the most part. Even areas like Happy Valley, which have really been developed in the last 20 years, you know, they're building out these little entertainment districts and food carts and areas with restaurants and things like that. Tigard has probably, I don't know if I would say the worst, but kind of the least exciting downtown area just about of any suburb in Portland. Now, I think on one hand, you know, today it's not all that great, although, you know, there's plenty to do. You can get out and walk around. There are some shops, there are a few restaurants, a couple bars, things like that. Tigard Tap House is great. They have a big outdoor patio and, you know, big outdoor space with all these picnic tables and fire pits and live music and things like that. So there is a little bit to do, but when you hold it up against Beaverton or downtown Hillsborough, for example, definitely a little bit lacking. But this is an area that the city of Tigard is really committed to developing and kind of building out and making an attraction and kind of a hub, a central hub that people want to get out and, you know, go out to and spend time in. So I think projecting out 5, 10, 15 years, downtown Tigard is probably going to have a lot more to offer. It's right on Highway 99. It's really central, you know, it's just kind of on the south side of 99, but really central in Tigard overall. And there are some residential areas just to the east and maybe a little bit north or a little bit south of downtown Tigard as well. So you could live in a neighborhood, you know, in a residential area that is really downtown Tigard, where you can walk to the downtown area. But a lot of, you know, the surrounding area around downtown is more warehouses and, you know, big commercial buildings and things like that. So again, not a ton of residential development right in downtown, but definitely an area to highlight, because no matter what suburb you would live in the Portland metro area, the downtown area should matter. You know, even if you're getting out occasionally, you know, a couple times a month, whatever it is, this is definitely an area where I think, just like any other downtown area, people would want to get out and explore a little bit. Now, the Fano Creek Trail runs right through here. So if you lived in the Fano Creek Trail, maybe closer into like Derry Dell, for example, you might be able to walk up into downtown Tigard, which is kind of cool. But overall, this is an area to highlight more as an area that you would go out and hang out in from time to time, less so an area that you would actually live in. All right, that's Tigard for you. I probably skipped over a ton of detail. And again, if you want to talk more about Tigard, talk more about some of these different neighborhoods, the pros and cons, the cost of living, what the real estate market is like, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video and schedule a Zoom call with us, and we can talk more about that. Now, if this video is helpful, make sure to hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. If you want to get more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. As always, we really appreciate you watching, and until next time, we'll talk to you later.